Yeah. Yeah. Howdy, everybody. Just gonna do that to the owls. Thank y'all for being here today. And yeah, the time right now is 7:11, and we are going to start our committee meeting. Thank you, Julie, for being here, and howdy, Constance. Hope your travelings are going well. Now,
Hello.
so, yeah, so no one else is at this time hopping on through the Zoom, so. Yeah. Just quick announcement of who is here. With Fanny Bridget.
Hello.
Okay. Julie, say your name for the Zoom.
Julie Reyes. Community Board 8 Chair.
Cesar, as chair for today.
Nick Fazio.
And joining us on the Zoom is Constance.
Hello.
Yes, and. Yes, as I mentioned, some parts of today is gonna be quick. Chair's report. I was told today or yesterday that I will be here as chair, so I do not have much to report on. I will be doing a presentation later in my work capacity and will passing that to time to someone else. So I do not think we have quorum.
Two more.
Yeah, we need 5 for quorum. There's 8 people.
Oscar's
Oscar's
no
not
longer
on
on the
the
board.
committee anymore.
Yes, no, so as of right now, we
You
need,
need one more person.
yeah, one more person. We need 4. So. Try to see what we can reorder until we have something. Yes, because to approve the minutes, we need quorum for the award, we need quorum. And for the budget, we need quorum.
And if you don't make budget because of time constraints, could discuss and just make the recommendation to the board.
Okay,
And then, because the board has a final say anyway. So,
okay, so we can still have that.
oh, yeah,
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah, and then just make it as a recommendation.
yeah, so with that. Let's start there, everyone should have the budgets. Yeah, so the FY27 priorities that we've had were the increased funding for the SBS Business Express Service Team, also known as BES, who are outreach specialists, increased funding for additional SPS workshops, increased funding for SPS emergency teams, and increased funding for CLAP, the Commercial Lease Assistance Program. And then, so that's on the expense side, and then also for the capital side, I discussed the Bronx bus last year, and also looking at it for this additional year, so. What we have here, our rankings were for FY26 were best, was ranked 1, the small business network and workshops ranked 2 for additional funding for program initiatives such as compliance, pitch training, networking. SBS emergency response unit was ranked as 3, and it looks like additionally CLAP is also ranked at 2. Not sure if that's effective. Yeah. I just was wondering if there's 2 of them that were ranked at 2. I want to make sure that that's not a typo. But, yes, so discussions on keeping. Or discussion. Owls do not die on us.
No, I'm looking at the budget responses that we got from last year. And for example, the workshops, those are already being done and they're already funded through SBS. So it would probably be redundant to ask for that one again, for instance.
Right. Mhm.
And as far as the others are concerned, even though there were increases, the responses say that there were increases in staffing. The staff for both of those, for the best and for the ERU they're still really understaffed, so I think we should put those again this year. And of course, same for commercial lease assistance. It's a really valuable program.
Mhm.
And, I know that a lot of times it's kind of feast or famine, but sometimes their lawyers are completely inundated. And there's a huge list, a huge list of people in the queue to be able to get services, so we could include that as well.
Initial thoughts? Nonsense?
I agree with Nick. Does make sense. And I know the app shall remain undiscussed maybe for now, but the first two are definitely good priorities.
Yeah, so it looks like. You are also here. Thoughts?
I concur.
Yeah, so on the expense budget, we've incurred it. We are still keeping best. The small business networking workshops and CLAP. And,
The workshops are the one that we said.
oh, sorry,
If
ERU.
Yeah, the ERU.
Okay.
But if the group wants to keep them, that's fine. I'm just noting that in the responses.
Yeah.
That there is already funding and they do hold those events.
Yes, yeah, they do, I can, from personal experience.
Yeah.
And the other question is, do we want to keep the ranking as best as one, then best as one, CLAP as two, and ERU as three?
I think that's the proper ranking for those, just in terms of the impact in our district and in our personal experience with Best. It's been really impactful, and I think they only have 6 agents citywide.
Yes, it was, like
So-
6 to 8.
Yeah, and they're always there when we need them, but it, doesn't mean that they're not needed elsewhere sometimes as well, so.
Is there such like years ago, the Kingsbridge Association used to give out loans for the businesses. Does any agency fund that?
Bronx Economic Development.
They have a BXC.
Do they have,
They have the micro grants that they
Yeah.
spoke about recently.
They're a CDFI now, Community Development Fund.
so would you guys consider like asking them to get more money so that they can distribute more?
Could, I mean, they, a lot of times their funding. They're not able to lend out the funding that they have.
How about their bid? That's what I was thinking of, their
The
bid.
bid doesn't do loans.
No, so
So at one point, Catherine, like that organization had some type of,
Well, they can apply for grants, but
Yeah.
that's up to the respective executive directors to apply for those grants.
did bid ask for anything at August?
Not to
No.
my knowledge. The KRVC has gotten grants, has asked for grants and have been awarded multiple times.
Mhm.
And I think they just got another one recently, so.
also to answer part of your question, to my knowledge. And this is because Vanessa Gibson mentioned it at the State of Borough, Tabala. Where we were at.
Tabala?
Yeah, Tabala, actually did receive one of those micro grants slash assistance from the BXEDC.
it's a
Like
loan.
$600,000 because of the predatory loans that they had.
And our local bid didn't ask for anything.
Well, that's the lending for the business is different than the bid.
Right, right.
But as far as I know, they didn't apply for any loans, for any grants.
Yeah,
And in the past, SBS has also had trouble getting bids and merchant associations to apply.
mhm,
And show that, you can't just apply, they have to have a plan and they have to demonstrate what they've done with the money, what they're going to do with the money, et cetera. So it's a huge process. And, again, to my understanding, KRBC has gotten some pretty substantial grants over the last couple of years, which is
Mhm.
good, and, they've definitely put it to good use in the district. But I can't speak for the bid, I don't. I mean, we could ask, we could invite the bid to our next meeting.
Yeah.
Have that discussion.
yeah, because they.
Nick,
usually
I had-
bid-
Oh, I'm sorry. I was gonna ask Nick, you said it was, they're having difficulty getting folks to sign up for the grants. Is it because of the process or lack of awareness?
I think it's probably the process. I don't know, I can't. Speak for them, but I know that it's an arduous process to apply for the grant. But our committee has a very good connection with, there you go, with the person who oversees the grants with SBS, so. If the bid or any other organization, we could definitely, through FARA, we can reach out to our contacts. And see, what it entails.
I think it'd be nice to check in with them, because they used to do a lot for the business owners and everything.
Any other comments around the expense budgets? So I also want to bring in the fact that there is a capital budget as of the bronze bucks. That was a conversation. That was more had last year, and it seems like is that a conversation that we're still bringing forward?
And Constance seems to think we should, so. I defer to her judgment.
I mean, I think it's worthwhile. I like the idea. I know it hasn't gone very far, but I mean, can't hurt to put it back. It would be probably the last priority, but I think it's a good idea. I know it takes a lot. It's going to require a lot of tech, but again, that could also employ people, having them to build that out. So I think
Yeah,
we could try it again. It's my thought.
Like, one of the things was like overall, it's that like it is well for like economic gardening, if like you have the bronze bucks. That people, and you can't use that like in Amazon or like these big places, like, hey, go support your local businesses. And your local shops, so like the grand scheme of things, it's a good way to help promote. That, like a lot more of the smaller businesses, because. And as we see, so many businesses we have, then how often do they go, because people are like, I can just order online. So I still think, I think it's a useful tool. Or it could be a useful tool.
Okay, keep it in.
Like, keep it in, and like, there's our only capital. Budget request. So. With that, we'll bring a recommendation to the board. With best at 1, clap at 2, ERU at 3. And then.
And then
Okay.
capital at 1,
Yeah, capital at 1.
the only one, yeah, sounds good.
Okay. No discussion of the next commercial corridor walkthrough. until one more person walks through that door.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so the next commercial corridor, we. Trying to remember what's the date we have settled on this month. But it's for the Kingsbridge corridor starting from Aqueduct towards Sedgwick. What dates we have discussed?
In the minutes, it said April,
Yeah, sometime in April.
April 17th.
I think that's when I'm not here.
Hmm.
That's when I'm not here. I'll be gone.
Yeah,
You said Friday, right?
yeah, it's that Friday before, it's. Yeah, Thursday, April 17th, so that's Good Friday. Oh, no, this is a Thursday. Because we couldn't do because the Friday is
But
Good
it's
Friday.
Friday, yeah, I'm not gonna be in town.
So. So, yeah, so this is the Kingsbridge corridor.
I know Farrah also sent a late email saying that Councilmember Dinowitz is doing a walkthrough on 242nd and Broadway.
Oh, yeah, what date is that?
She doesn't have the date yet. She said that she'll send you guys the details.
Yeah, they usually do them Mondays around noon. Therefore, I'm never able to attend.
Hmm. Hmm.
But it's good that we put it out there, you might, some people, I don't know, might be off that day for just by.
Yeah, whenever I have that day, depending on timing, I'll see if I can actually make it up there.
Yeah, because they're losing business over there.
That's 2%.
You can't even tell that they're open, but
Yeah,
Oh,
with
that's
that
right.
thing over there,
Farrah met with, we had a meeting with MTA, and we had asked if they can at least put the logo of the businesses, because it says open for business, but if
Yeah.
you're driving by, it doesn't look like anything.
right,
So they're going to look to see if they can put
Yeah.
at least the logos,
Right.
because people could identify and say, okay, they're open, let's go in.
another example of the law of unintended consequences,
And that's a big one too.
careful what you wish for.
Mhm.
Yeah, so. Well, I'll say hopefully they can do either, at least even some form of wheat pasting on that,
Yeah,
on any of that, so it's like more visible, it's like, hey, people are
Mhm.
open, you can come
Yeah.
through.
Yeah, because I don't remember the exact timeline, but the timeline on that,
so about a year.
Here,
it was, some of
It's
those
almost
businesses will be
about a
gone.
year.
act,
I mean,
fingers crossed, a year.
Well, over
Yeah.
a year, about a year and a half.
yeah, it'll be probably longer than that.
Because they have to have the initial design, construction, implementation,
Yeah.
at least a year and a half for the elevators.
I was about to say, I know the one for Yankee Stadium, which already has an elevator. They also put that as at a year and a half, or. It started last year and they were like, by the end of this current year, and I'm like. There's already an elevator here, so imagining what it would look like for a place that does not have an elevator,
Yeah,
like, it's hard to imagine that it's the exact same amount of time.
so it's like a year and a half, probably more. We're gonna do a presentation to TNT again.
In that one, there's more, the businesses are,
Yeah, they're also farther.
they're farther away. This
Yeah.
is, it's like right there, it's like right in their face.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah, so. Yeah, definitely, we'll try to see when,
so Farrell says she's gonna send out the notice as soon as she gets the date.
Sounds good.
and for the Kingsbridge corridor, we'll also get the folks from the Kingsbridge. Merchant Association to, at least that side of the Merchant Association. To also come out. And give them a heads up of like, hey, we're doing a walkthrough,
Right, you have their contact, right?
Yeah. yeah, no, we do work with,
Yeah.
clearly, we work with them. And at one point, we're their fiduciary agent. Back when they were trying to reestablish, so. It's a lot easier to, like. It's. Constance, are you gonna be able to join on that day? Oh, no.
I think so, yes. Yes.
Angel. And I will be present on that day.
Who's causing what's fake for the fake challenge? Like, girl, what's fake about that though? Angel. What is that?
Yes, please. What is that?
Community board.
Where?
Oh, Andrew?
Community board for my job.
Thank you. I can't see far with these glasses. It's so funny at meetings, I see just shades. Really say, who's that? Any-
So there's some theory to merchant associations this month, hopefully not on the same day. And I'll try to be present at both of them, try to be present at both of them, see what, especially what resources are coming for the 242nd Street as well, and do a report back in May. Other work, other thoughts, sentiments?
No.
Angel, we are talking about the next commercial corridor walkthrough, April 17th. On the Kingsbridge corridor, starting on Aqueduct and going to Sedgwick. Additionally, we received an email that Councilmember Dinowitz will also be doing a commercial corridor walkthrough on 242nd Street with dates to be TBD.
And of course, you're inviting Angel, right?
Yes, Angel, are you, if you are still here, we would like to know if you are able to join, or at least the one on the 17th, we have a date for. The one on 242nd Street, we do not have a date for yet, and when that date goes out, please, we would love for you to join as well.
How you doing, guys? Thank you. Yeah, of course. Feel free to send me an invitation. I will have to revisit because we have a lot of events coming up for the month of April and May. As everybody knows, May is a business month, so we planning like this big event for all businesses to attend. That's something that the Department of Small Business usually do every year, and like I mentioned before, I have different NYC Best and your community events, and every borough, every week I have an event. Plus now we have the after hour events. They started on. It's gonna start now. No, they started on March 20. That was my first event, and we started this new pilot program now to see how it works. For businesses, they open after hours. They that they don't have the opportunity, right, to know about the services we offer. So I will look into all those days and just provide me with the days that you have available to see how I can get together my team so we can be part of those walkthroughs, like always.
Yeah, is there somebody we should CC Angel when we send the invite?
You can always CC Bert Ambroise. She's the executive director of NYC Best.
Okay. Make sure Farah knows that you just the best
Is there?
for Androids. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, so we'll send both dates for the walkthroughs when we have them.
Mhm.
Great, thank you.
No, no worries. And, yeah. I think with that, I'll just move on to old business, new business. And for the purposes of Actually, Julie, do you wanna bring up the old business first? With the resolution?
The resolution for,
Your-
oh, for the award? Oh,
What
okay,
what
well,
we're
we
talking
talk about
about?
outside, okay. Okay. So you guys have this in your packet? It looks like this.
Yes.
This is the second page.
Okay, this is really old business, because I sent the previous chair something very similar. But with this, basically, it is that, as a board, there's been ongoing discussions of putting things in place policy-wise. So we're trying to get from every committee, what are the criterias of the committee award, because it eventually has to be decided upon by the board, but let the committee give their recommendations of what this award is. Like, this is the, now it's called the Most Valuable Merchant Award, the Betty Campbell Adams Most Valuable Merchant Award. So, like, at your next committee, if you guys can have a discussion so that by the end of the term, you can have a resolution stating what is the Betty Campbell Award, like how many are you going to give out, how many awardees can be given out, if it's 1, 2, 3, whatever, the application deadlines. I would ask that the committee consider giving out the awards in May for Small Business Association Month, not association, Small Business Month. Looking to see if you guys consider May to give it out. I've asked the youth committee, they'll do it in June because that's when the kids get out of school. And the community service of Irving Latimer, April, which is volunteer month, because community service award is volunteers, to spread out the awards so that we're not there in one night, like forever. And this way, that will also give the awardees an opportunity to really be recognized rather than rushed and through in one night's meeting. Just like in the Urban Latimer this year, they have quite a few awards.
Hmm.
And we don't even know what the youth has, so already June's gonna be a heavy month. You know, so just to try to spread it out, so I'm just asking if the committee would consider in your resolution when you're putting together, for the most valuable awards, to consider, having the date set for that it's given out at the May meeting. And then this sheet just has questions for your committee to consider when you're putting the resolution together, just formulating in policy. And most of the answers are already in the application or in the criteria, but we just have to formalize it. That's it. Just put a policy in place so that as the years go on, when new members turn over, they have a guide to go to. And then I sent Constance a copy of the only awards that actually has a resolution in place is the Urban Latimer Award.
Yeah.
This committee, when they decided to do the award, nothing was ever like really formulated and put in policy. So the youth is doing it, your committee, and the veterans. The only award that's already really in place is the Urban Latimer, and they have to do a resolution if they're going to even change the month for the future to do in May, because in their original resolution, it was in October. And then this list is just things to consider when you're putting together your award. The award criteria for the resolution. Any questions?
We discussed this. But no questions. It's like, it sounds, especially with the major turnover that we may see in the next couple of years. But to have a lot of this on paper before people step away from the board for a year.
Yeah, I mean, some of these things we discussed over the last several meetings, and I'm not sure what the consensus was, but
Yeah.
whatever your best recollection is, I would say.
Mhm.
So I don't remember exactly what. I know that there was like, some people wanted to allow, I think most people wanted self-nominations,
Yeah,
but I don't remember exactly, it might be in the minutes, though.
yeah.
Okay,
I
so
could ask Oscar.
Okay.
You know.
I'll look at the emails exchanges also with him.
Yeah, I think it was in the minutes. Sorry, I was saying, I think it's in the minutes because I remember we clarified one of the word or a sentence in the application. And I think the last thing we were talking about was more than one awardee.
Yeah,
I can't remember where we landed on that. It's in the minutes though, I think.
I'll go through the minutes.
That's good, and then you could just
Totally.
plug it in and just draft a nice resolution, nice and simple.
Yeah. There you go.
Nothing too elaborate. Cause you know, it'll, as time goes on, things change and they'll change it again. So just a nice, simple, like a format, a guideline.
Yeah, and we have the one for urban
Yeah.
Latimer to reference as well.
Yeah, and just when you're looking at these, if you're gonna set sort of a criteria. I would just suggest that whoever drafts it, that plays sort of the what if game. Because that's a lot of the issues that we, as a committee, were running into. We would say, well, what if this happens? And what if that happens? So I think the vaguer, right, the broader the powers that the committee has to use its discretion to select the awardee, the better for future committee members. Because otherwise, there'll be situations and scenarios that we may not anticipate. And then they won't, based on the criteria, may not have the latitude to be able to address it the way that they see fit. And that's one of the concerns that we had in terms of detailing the process by which the award would be
Yeah.
granted.
Yeah, cause it's kind of general, but at least a guideline, like I look at,
Yeah, the
Just
more
like it-
general, the better. I
yeah,
would
like
say.
looking at these, like I'm wondering, okay, so. Why are we giving awards out to, like for the most valuable merchants? Like, I won't say which, but like, I just read one and I'm like, okay, this could be any business. Like, why will we give them an award? Like, where do they fit in the criteria? Because I don't see it.
Well, again, that's gonna be up to the individual committee members to, you know, they may know something about that business that you don't.
But then it
Right,
has
and
to.
it might not be it might not be written there, but people may know it, and then at that time, they would share that with the committee,
Okay.
right? I mean, the one nomination that I made this year, I didn't write everything that this business did, because it would have taken too long. So I had to really cut it back, right? So,
Okay, you
and it
know,
depends on the people that use the nomination.
I'm one of those
No,
that,
I get your
I
point.
don't like to name businesses, so please don't name the business.
No,
But like
I
on
won't.
that one, I'm thinking,
I won't, but there is.
I love them.
There is an argument to be made for this,
Okay,
okay, I'm just telling you, and it
Mhm.
goes back a number of years, like long before my
but
time.
you understand my point.
I do,
Okay.
I read that as well, and I totally understand, but
Okay.
that, if I had
And I love
written,
them.
if somebody else had written it,
Yeah.
somebody else may have written more details about what that individual, and what that business contributed to the community, because it's substantial. It really is. But it wasn't my nominee, so. But they're worthy of a nominee, they really are, but I get it, like you're
But then
saying.
either the
and that-
committee or the office should contact them and have it written down. For the
Yes.
committee,
Sorry, you were.
like for the committee, either the board or the committee members. Should contact,
Oh,
Them?
due diligence.
yeah, and say, okay,
Right,
like you may know,
right,
I know what they do, because reading this, I'm like.
Right.
Like, are we really doing this? And that's part of the committees when they do the awards to either have the office or the members themselves,
Yeah, to
someone
do
needs
that.
to,
yeah, we used
Follow
to,
up.
that's how we used to do it.
yeah,
Yeah, I was about to say, for Irving Latimer Award, we did that this
Yeah.
We
year.
did, we
I
all
was just like, hey, like, everyone contact one of the
Exactly.
nominees,
Yeah.
don't contact the nominator.
Yeah,
Yeah, we used to do, you do your research
Yeah.
beforehand, and that's why it's good to get the nominees early. And have a little bit of time to contemplate so that you have time to do that research.
okay. So that was my thing with the resolution. Thank you for consideration.
Okay, and now to new business, Anthony. Because I'm the one presenting on behalf of my job, I need someone to be chair for right now.
Sure, absolutely, happy to.
Okay. Howdy, everybody. I work for Northwest Bronx Community and Clergy Coalition as the Bronx-wide community organizer. Current, just a little bit of background, the Bronx has no formal economic development plan. Brooklyn has one as of like 2018 because the Chamber of Commerce submitted comprehensive economic development strategy to the federal government, and then that got approved, which is how they're able to do a lot more renovations on Barclay Center and a lot of other areas. The last time the Bronx had anything that was close to getting formalized was 1988, when I went to the borough president. It was just like like a recommendation of like what the plan should be. So because of that, the Bronx has actually been, and the BXCDC, when they apply for grants, they are essentially told no, because we do not have this formal document in place. So last year, the BXCDC came to Northwest Bronx. It's like, hey, y'all have already been doing this work across the Bronx related to economic development, economic democracy, asset mapping, needs assessment. Can we use your information? And we told them only if we are partners in this project.
Good for you.
And that is why I'm here today. Northwest Bronx and BXCDC are collaborating to create a comprehensive economic development strategy for the Bronx. It's a 2-year process that started last September and should be finalized next year. But what that actually entails is we've hired a consultant that's doing research has been doing research. We have reached out to elected officials to do a SWOT analysis. They're the first people we reach out to because they take the most time to respond, realistically. But they have like a different insight of, hey, what money do we have on like federally, what money do we have on the state level? What's the budget look like? City level or locally, what does the budget look like? So we've reached out to them, we've reached out to different industries and have been conducting focus groups to just understand, like, hey, like as your work specifically, y'all are representing all these different industries of like healthcare, food, technology, advanced manufacturing, education. What have y'all been seeing in the Bronx throughout all of your experiences? And now we are reaching the stage where it's like, okay, we understand that it's like not everything is the elected and the state and those particular businesses. We understand that the Bronx is 1.4 million people. How do we reach those people so that we can get as many people involved in this process as well? Because for us as Northwest Bronx, we believe firmly if you are not the one planning, someone else is planning for you. And we've seen time and time again across the history of the Bronx, that when people are not planning for the people of the Bronx, when they're planning for developments, then who are the people that are ultimately getting screwed out of their livelihoods? It's the people that live here, has always lived here. So ultimately, at the end of this month, we are holding a Bronx Economic Development Assembly at Lehman College. So that's April 30th at Lehman College at 6 p.m. because we want people to understand, like, what does this process actually look like of the SEDS? We'll have the information, the data that has been collected, that will be shown there. And the reason I'm giving that date specifically, because that's the one in the Northwest Bronx. We'll be doing one in the Northeast Bronx, the Southeast Bronx, and the Southwest Bronx, each of the subsequent months. But I don't want to make people travel that much. I don't want people to be like, yeah, the only meeting I go to is like in Prague, and I'm like, no, go to one of the Lehman's. it's closer. But we're also conducting a survey because one of our big criterions is, okay, we're trying to get as many people as possible. We know that not everyone can go to Lehman on a Wednesday night. But we do understand, like, can you fill out this 5 to 7 minute long survey? Yes, okay, great, and that will be giving us feedback on. We start with some of the aspects of like, what do you actually enjoy about the Bronx? Because unfortunately, a lot of times we are very negative about the Bronx. So like, what are the things that you enjoy about the Bronx? What are the things that you think can be improved about the Bronx? And also understanding some aspects around climate resiliency as was per both Northwest Bronx and the BXCDC's purview. We need to be adding more around climate resiliency into the ads that we are making. Especially if we're talking about economic development, we are understanding that the new wave of jobs isn't green jobs. So, and local components like the needs of resiliency on Broadway are very different than the needs of resiliency on Kingsbridge. I live on Kingsbridge, I live on top of a hill. I don't have to worry about flooding. Folks on Broadway, the folks literally at the bottom of a watershed and a flood shed, they do. So like those are two, and conversely on the East Bronx, they also have their own flooding needs. So also looking at all the aspects of like across the Bronx, what are the commonalities of resiliency that we need? What are the businesses that we need? What are businesses that we can support and uplift in these processes as well? We're inviting a lot of small businesses, trying to get thousands of people to fill out these surveys. So that way, when this document is created, at the end of the year, we're gonna have our first draft. That is our overall mission statement / goals for Bronx, sets of projects. And sets, using all of the information that we gather, like how do we actually create this timeline, like what resiliency looks like for the Bronx, and how does the current economic infrastructure like both benefit and shift as a result, and where funding would actually help all of these projects. And at the end of the year, then this document becomes public, and we ask and we do a very similar process of, hey, if we are saying that we want community feedback, it is not just to be like, community, tell us things, and then we'll write this document, and then it becomes the official document. It's like, no, community, also tell us what you think of this document. Like, if we are like grossly underestimating something because like people didn't fill out the survey, but or you don't see what other people said while you're filling it out, and you're like, wait, no, that actually is a bigger priority. Let us know, and if we are, yeah. It was just like, as this document is created, we're getting feedback on that document as well, because we understand, it's like, when we're saying planning with us, is planning with us at every step of the way. Sorry, yeah, I just want to open up to any questions around
Who's the consulting firm, you know?
Kyanite Partners,
What's the name of it?
Kyanite Partners, KYANITE.
Oh, I heard it.
Yes, so Northwest Bronx Community Corridor Coalition originally has worked with them through our submission of the EPA or EPA grant,
Mhm,
which was a lot similar research across the Bronx.
mhm. Compliments on the initiative,
Thank you. Yeah, it's one
long
of,
overdue.
no, whenever we tell people, it was like, the last time something that was recommended was in 1988, they're like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess one of my questions is, I think you alluded to this, but the existence of the document, right, having it
Yeah,
is essentially more important than the content, correct? Like, the content can be
yeah, so,
fungible, but the fact that to have it, because it opens up the doors to possibly other investments,
Yes.
whether they from public or private.
yeah, so yeah, I think you put it well, like, while throughout this entire process, the contents will change. We're even asking people, it's like, hey, help us change the content in this once we finish it, help us do our revisions. But once it is certified by Economic Development Administration, then that actually opens up the grants that we were, us as like the entirety of the Bronx and through the BXDC were unable to get. Yeah, so it's one of those things where it's like, the main thing that has been hindering the Bronx is this one piece of paper. Or what, like the main thing that's like with regards to being eligible for these grants.
So, yeah, I understand.
Businesses. Yeah,
It's a
no.
good thing to have, and then it can be amended.
Yeah, and,
But as long as you have a template, something to start with, right?
yeah, and
Makes sense.
as per the grant, as per like the document itself. The SEDS, Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy, does require like every 5 years a process. Happen, or like the revisions happen again, which for me is like, makes sense, a lot of things can change in 5 years. Wanna make sure that as we fought to say that the Bronx itself is a region. Because that was the actual other main area, was they had to agree that the Bronx can be classified as a region. And I'm like, y'all included Peoria, Illinois is right in the SEDS. We already agreed that Brooklyn is right in the SEDS. So we have between both of those population sizes, we should be fine.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes. Good luck, that's good.
Yeah, it's good. Can't wait to read it. If I make a suggestion, like, I get in trouble for this all the time because I'm not trying to tell anybody how to do their job. But, if I were to make a suggestion
Yeah.
to this consulting firm or to you, is that regardless of the values and the priorities, which are certainly important, and they seem to be at the fore of your analysis, which is good. They have to coincide with market flow
Yeah, so that is,
and market, like capital flow and market trends.
yeah, so that's part of the big reason why we actually hired part of the big reason why we hired both the consulting firm and part of the reason why the first round of surveys did go to electeds.
Mhm.
Cause like, hey, like y'all can do the research on like market flow, the electeds are the ones that have to stick their understandings, like, hey, where's the money been going?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
Yeah.
interrupt. When I say capital flow, I don't mean public money. Right, because an economy that runs on public money isn't a real economy. You understand?
Well,
If an economy is running on money that it's getting from the government, it's not a real economy. So when I say capital flow, I mean private capital flow. And free market trends.
yeah, no, that's what I'm saying, it's like, that's
Okay,
part of.
not public money.
So that is part of the
Okay, so
consultants.
grants, it's public money.
Yeah.
Right, grants and got funding from. Even loans sometimes are underwritten with public money, but most of the time loans are private money. Right, like those types of investments are equity investments, venture capital, those are all capital flows. So my suggestion is to be sure to pay attention to, and you can analyze those. There's analytical tools and economic development tools that are available that can sort of process this data. But you can look at what are capital flows and what the market trends are that coincide with those values. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but
Oh, yeah. No,
you were saying, like grants and politicians, that's not what I was referring to.
yeah, and while we disagree on one of the points, it's still valid, to say it's like,
What do we disagree on?
oh. When you're saying that is a conversation we can have later on. Right. Oh, no, we've already, thing that we can discuss in depth. But yes, but very much like Kinetic Partners, that's also part of the reason why they are doing all the focus groups that are not with the electeds and doing a lot of that other research as well, because it's like, we would prefer to have folks that's like, hey, your one job right now. Like when it comes to talking to electeds, like we're the ones talking to the electeds, Kinetic Partners, we want y'all to focus on essentially what you had mentioned. It's like, talk about, like, look at capital flow, look at like the free market, and actually talk to the different sectors to see like what's actually going on the grounds.
Yeah, because if not, then, I mean, it's great to have a document that expresses our values. But it's not, and it, like you said, the purpose of having it, right, just having it is good, it can be an asset. But actually, the realization of that document, unless it's backed up by actual market trends and private capital flows, you can just type up a wish list, right? We can wish for anything we want, but it takes nothing to dream, as they say.
I'm sure the
Costs
Bronx
nothing to
Economic
dream.
Development Corporation
Yeah,
has that in play,
Well, if they did, they wouldn't have asked them to do it,
you know, they're working together though.
right? But that's why they asked them to do it, because they didn't have it.
Mhm.
well, it's like, just the name is like, also like, the Bronx Chamber of Commerce is part of the strategy committee on this as
Mhm.
well. So for us, it's like, hey, they came to us because we do have like years of experience
Mhm.
working on economic democracy, economic
Mhm.
development as well, and also in terms of like community
Right.
land trust, owning buildings, so that's why they come to us.
Yeah, no, and by the way, I read your RFP for the Armory, and it was very well done, just in terms of just what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
In terms of market trend, capital flows, private capital, not just public money. The
Oh.
document was it was very well thought out. You guys didn't get it though, right?
No, we did not get it, but I can say here, because there's currently a lawsuit being opened against them, but that's the other place you would have seen kind of progress.
Against who?
You're on tape.
If wrong, we're being recorded. No, it's a open,
Okay, just,
yeah, like it's a public, like this one's a public
okay,
lawsuit that there's no
just
news.
in case.
No, we've had signs, a lot of things, but, one of the developers is suing the Economic Development Corporation.
Cause they didn't get the RFP?
Corruption.
You guys going off topic?
But I'm just asking questions.
But yeah, but that's
I
like,
don't really-
but like, based on that RFP, that's also like the scope of like, yes, like, we do look at all these topics.
Confirm you speaking English. See, they're even telling you.
Sorry, Constance, Angel, do y'all have any questions?
Do I have to unmute?
No questions. I was just gonna ask, Siva to make sure that he sends that information so we can all show up on the 30th.
Yes, our full, like, our stuff is literally being finalized tonight with like pretty graphics. We were in an all-day meeting today, so our person is just making the graphics look pretty, but that will be going out to everyone this week, just so they have like, hey, like, this is what's happening, and just some of the frequently asked questions that people have been like just saying, like, what is the actual purpose of all of this? To your point, Nick, where it's like, yeah, it's nice to have these things on the paper, but the real purpose of this is we wanna make sure that money is actually coming into the Bronx through all of these different means.
Yeah, and to me, economic development is helping people make money for themselves. Right, so that they don't need grants, they don't need funding for this or funding for that, that they build their own capital so that they can go get their loans through their financial partners. Right, and not, through public means. To me, that's what economic development is, right? You want to be self-sufficient, you want to empower people, teach them to make their own money, help them make their own money. Not be reliant upon somebody else to give them money, right? You need that capital in the beginning, but then that investment that you make, it has to pay dividends, it has to be successful, and it has to be able to, cascade. Otherwise, you have a failed business,
Be a nice professor.
Hmm?
You should be are you a professor?
I used to be,
You should go
found it
back.
boring.
No, you should go back.
I thought it was boring.
Any questions, comments from those side?
Well, interesting to me.
I know, right? You should be a professor.
Angel? Confirm?
Right here.
Any questions, comments? Around the sets?
No, no questions on my end.
Okay. As we are still here right now, there's nothing else we can,
You could discuss their awards.
yeah, it's just the awards, but we can't vote on them tonight.
But you'll make recommendations next week because the awards are going out in May. So, but at least you have 1, 2, 3, 4, even though it's not a quorum, you still have 4 members.
You could come to a consensus.
Yeah.
Theoretically.
That's what I said, you like to consent, that's what I do. You know, and then that's why at the floor, you do it from the floor. you know?
Which is why if you write a resolution that codifies everything that has to be done for the award, it should have a way for the committee to do what we're about to do right now.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if it's stipulated otherwise, we wouldn't be able to do it.
Mhm. So which
I would say you're
one are you
technically
gonna
still chair.
review
Yeah.
first?
You're technically still.
Well, I forgot I was chipped, right?
But without saying, you guys don't say names, so.
No,
No.
Okay.
no, we won't say that,
Okay,
definitely not.
so who had, you relinquished
Yeah, no,
that?
yeah,
Okay, so yeah,
Say that's chair.
so
I
discussion,
relinquish chair.
yeah, so discussion on the Betty Campbell awards. I'm just gonna go straight down the order that we have on the packets, just so we don't name names.
Can you show me which one you're gonna do first, cause I mixed mine up?
Oh, no, it's the one that you had,
Oh, okay.
I'm trying not to show it because the owl is also right there. Technology.
Okay.
The 360 technology.
Okay,
So yeah, so we'll just put it right on here.
see if I'm doing the right one. Yeah, okay,
We have
Wait,
3 or 4?
There should be
no, I'm
4.
on a different one.
It's,
Okay, don't say names.
yeah,
Yeah, but they're supposed to put letters on them.
no, we're gonna do this.
Oh.
Show you
Okay.
what the 4 should be.
Yeah.
Are they in the email somewhere?
It should have been with a
Yeah.
reminder, no?
Yeah.
Let me
I still only have
see.
Oh, no, wait a minute, I saw the 4th one. It's here, it's not in here, but I saw it.
Okay, I was fine.
Yeah.
I was gonna laugh if the 4th one was the one you wrote.
No.
Okay, so yeah, so going on, starting with this,
Okay. It's what you guys said.
yeah, so.
Let me just text Constance so she knows which one it is.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Which one?
no, fine.
Got it.
Yeah, I'm fine. I think this is the camera. Oh, no, camera. I never get used to where the actual camera placement is, even though we have these at my job.
Yeah, it is right here.
Yeah,
They actually really should have been alphabetized.
yes. So, conversation. I actually do want to start with y'all too. I'm not familiar with them, and also looking at this description does not give me enough information to really make a judgment.
Is this the
Should
first
we-
time that the committee's seeing it?
No,
Oh, okay.
we had these.
No, we've had these. It's just thing like every time I just look at it.
And nobody like followed up or anything like that?
I would suggest,
Yes. I'm probably reading Nick's mind. I would suggest that we did what we did for Irvin Latimer because I feel like we don't
Yeah.
really know. I mean, we know the places, right? But not much more about them because we saw the places at the last meeting and then that was it. So do we have time to just do a quick sort of research on these before we need
Yeah, you have
to?
it, so, well, actually,
What time
the
meeting?
select board meets on Wednesday. Oh, yeah, tomorrow's Wednesday.
Tomorrow's Wednesday.
Yeah, no, we have the same, no, because we have the same conversation for Irving Latimer, is like.
All right.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, but you guys did it,
Yeah, no, just,
Yeah.
that's the reason we know the day, it's like, oh, yeah, we
Yeah.
had that conversation.
um,
I was gonna say,
so no one's actually like done more research on any of these?
Unless Oscar has it.
Yeah, that was not an ask, that was brought up.
Mm.
So.
Yeah.
Actually. I was, oh,
I did research on one of them.
yeah, I was about to say, let's. Would you like to start with
So
that?
let's start with yours then.
Um,
Let me see what
okay,
it
I don't
looks
wanna
like.
be, I don't wanna be too revelatory regarding the business, but
Let me see what it looks like.
you can read it. I think I honestly, I think
Okay, oh, yeah.
one of the things about this is I think the nomination speaks for itself. And it demonstrates that this entrepreneur and this establishment has really gone above and beyond and has been exemplary, both as an entrepreneur and in terms of community engagement and doing things for the community. So,
And they don't even let the community know half of what they do.
they don't.
See, now they do tremendous work.
They do, and they don't, it's not part of their marketing.
Yeah. They
Their
just do it.
community, exactly, exactly. Real good business, they employ, I think, 20-25 people, there's almost no turnover. It's been the same staff for many, many years, as far as I know. And, yeah,
Did you get my text, Constance?
I did. I don't know much about, other than where I eat. I don't know much about any of these, so
Well,
just
in the
listening.
where the application, it has all of the, some of the things that they do.
mhm.
So this is like a nice application.
I'm trying to find
It's like 20.
that email. I don't. Let me see. No, that's the resolution. I don't know. I can't find it, but I'll keep looking. I trust Nick's judgment.
Yeah, in terms of the others. I mean, we
So
have,
before you move on to the others, you
Sure.
guys should like make a recommendation, yes or no? Because
I-
whoever, because
Yeah.
Constance will be, Constance, you're gonna be, oh no, you're gonna be at the exec. Who's gonna be at the exec?
For this
This
committee, I
Yeah.
forget. I don't know. Says, you have a meeting, right? I'll still be here, so I'll only
It's
be on
at the
Zoom.
second, get to the committee meetings around 8, and you could Zoom it.
Oh,
Yeah.
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 You know,
Oh, I can
maybe-
Zoom. Yeah, I'll be on Zoom. I just can't
Yeah,
be in
no, you
person.
can Zoom it, okay. I mean, you'll be marked absent, but at least, I only care that we get
Mhm.
the information.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
so if I may make a suggestion to the chair, you can ask the committees in attendance if there are any objections to the first nominee.
Oh.
But you have to ask if there's any objections.
Committee? Are there any objections to the first
Yeah,
one?
Yeah, so the one we discussed, are there any objection? Yeah, I was gonna say, I do not object.
I don't object.
Okay. Okay.
Julie's actually a member of the committee, so,
But I don't vote.
no, but
No, no,
you're
no.
not voting
Yeah.
anyways.
I think
Yeah,
the
this is not-
application itself gives just a fraction of what they do for the community, and I was talking to the owner one day, finding out all this stuff, and I'm like, you never.
Right, but
asked
Oh, wait, so
me."
we're talking about the second one, not the first one.
No, yeah, we're.
The
we're
one,
talking-
the sec,
Oh, next, yeah, next.
The second
Oh,
one.
sorry.
yeah, okay.
I think half the things that they do, people don't realize that it's coming from them.
From them.
So I definitely, they're well
Okay.
deserving.
Give an elaboration on some of those things.
Well, some of it is right here.
Oh, I was gonna say, if you knew
The
like,
community
other,
half of
oh,
it
yeah,
is
like-
so much more.
yeah, no, I was gonna say, if you knew like some of the other stuff as well. Cause I like giving like a stronger.
Stronger compared to the, you can't get any stronger than this.
Yeah.
Have you read it?
Yeah, no, I read it a few times. No,
I
like,
sense
this-
strong sentiments from two people in the room that I trust, so.
Yeah, no, I trust them, it's gonna be, it's gonna be. No, that's the one that's like, I did not have a, even when I first saw it, I did not have a question of what I'm voting.
Okay, so then which is the next one?
Okay, let's go back to the first one, and I'm just naming it that way because people may have mixed up orders. Okay, thoughts, sentiment,
So you say that you know more of what they do?
Yeah.
So you wanna speak on it?
Well, they used to be really active when that particular part of the district was experiencing a difficult time. And they invested heavily into that area. When a lot of businesses were reluctant to do that. And they were active in a merchant association at a time when that area really needed one. So they were sort of the linchpin of their merchant association at the time. And they've been really involved in the community in a number of different ways. I just don't remember all the details. But it's been a long time,
Yeah,
since anything that has caught my attention and probably yours as well, but that's something we should look at.
so maybe the office or somebody can
Yeah,
get a little bit more, because if it's just this,
yeah, and the individual is really well respected among many of the merchants in the community. I don't know him personally, or them personally. But I know a lot of people have spoken very highly of them. Because they have more than one business in the neighborhood.
yeah, that's what I was just gonna say, which contributes. Yeah, which
Yes.
contributes.
Yes.
Yes, but we just need to be able to, we can't go to the floor with this.
No, yeah, we need more, right, absolutely, so we should look into that one. And then I guess the third one, right?
Okay. Which one's the third one, so I could text Constance?
It's one of the newer establishments.
yeah, let's.
Oh, I know that one. I mean, I know which one it is because they're nice.
And like,
That's all I can say.
yeah, very nice.
Very nice people.
That's the thing, are we giving out awards
No.
for being nice?
I don't think so.
No, no.
If that's the case,
Right,
can we all get an award
See,
there?
that's why.
but they're also very good at what they do. They're expanding their business. But other than that.
We don't know
they do stuff.
anything, yeah.
So how
With
they,
your organization,
Yeah,
they've done some
because
community
I've
stuff,
gone
right?
to a few of the businesses and some have said yes and some have said no. And so the first one actually didn't give me much, wasn't helpful.
yeah,
But the second was helpful. So
The first wasn't helpful.
the one that we
Yeah.
did,
the first one that we were talking
That
about
we were talking about,
wasn't,
wasn't,
but the second one was.
the second one was.
because the first one, maybe because they're central,
No,
would that have? anything to do?
I'm not sure which one was that.
The big one, the big one, the very short, not much of a description.
Okay.
Okay, so
They were
I
helpful?
went there, was not.
They were not.
Oh,
No.
helpful.
no.
Okay,
So I went there personally
right,
and nothing, but then I went to the second one that we're both, the one that we're talking about now. And yes, they were.
and that's this one,
Correct.
okay.
Because the first one probably is a different business district, maybe.
Not necessarily, because I went to others in that district and they also,
They were,
yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a test case right
Yeah.
there. So,
So they have to take a
Yeah.
good look at them.
So-
you know, the other thing that would, in my estimation, would factor in favor of this business is
Yeah.
in the past, we have given. And it just kind of worked out this way, we gave awards to long-established businesses that hadn't gotten just recognition, and then we gave it awards to newer businesses that
Right.
have really stood out among the newer businesses.
Okay.
Not
Mhm.
that that's part of the official criteria, but we have done that.
Right.
So, I think this one's worthy of looking at
Absolutely.
Cause I know they've done some work with that area as well, right? They've done some work with the
Okay.
Oregon.
So
And
that's
then,
why
yeah,
if they're two, I would definitely
go with this one.
go with yours and theirs, yeah.
And this one, right?
Mhm.
I'm inclined to agree,
Yeah,
pending further research.
Yeah. Like, again, so pending further research, because with the exception of yours, both of these are vague.
Yeah, they're vague, right?
So even though like they wrote more, but it's like for me, these are still like vague sentiments. That's hard to like pin down, like, okay, like what did you actually do?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, and I know like, what is that, oh, the Kingsbridge, the association, when they get events. KRVDC.
Yeah.
And I just mispronounced their whole name, but when they, events and everything, different businesses also participate with them. They could check in with them and say, hey, listen, does this business help you
Yeah,
out? Because
yeah.
I know they helped out like with the Halloween thing and everything, yeah. Like I
Yeah.
think that would be a good source, like a quick source to see.
Absolutely, and we do the same thing with RMA, but we have our source there, so
Yeah.
direct line, we don't have to make a call.
Yeah, but I know they have helped out.
you know, we have one.
We have one
final-
more.
The last one,
Yeah, I don't think. This, when we originally talked about the three, this one, originally looked at all of these, I don't think this one was actually part of the original.
It was.
Wasn't not, because when we first discussed these originally,
I don't have another one.
It's here somewhere, I had it.
it looks like, yeah, because it looks like that.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it's,
Yeah, it's on
Okay,
the
it
second
looks like
page,
that.
that's the second,
yeah, but it's on the second page.
Okay, I got it.
yeah, that's,
Oh, yeah. Okay, this one.
Yeah,
yeah, like when we originally had looked at these. We only had three to begin with. And I think, gonna make the vote because it wasn't closed, period,
Like this one needs a lot more information.
Yeah,
yes.
And as a committee, since you can't really vote outside of a meeting, you could certainly pull the committee chair, because since Oscar's not here anymore, Constance is the chair. So you guys can give your comments to Constance and then she can report back, because that's not a meeting, you're just giving her information. But this one,
Yes,
do you know anything about this one?
no.
just that people love it. Like people, adults, parents, kids, they all speak highly of it. I don't know anything about it, I don't know the person, but
But how does that tie in with like justifying giving the? I just wanna know.
I don't know.
Okay, if
So,
you don't know, then no.
No, that's all, I don't know anything else in terms of like what, it's been there a long time,
Yeah,
but you know, it's a,
but does it fit
Provides-
the criteria of the MVP award
I mean, it depends,
on what?
right, I mean, relative.
Julie, which one is that? Can you send me that one, please?
I mean, I think we need more information on that one too.
yeah, this one's very much, it needs more information because. It's like, to my brain, this is just, in theory, the bare minimum of what this type of establishment should be doing. Given that this is the world I came from since 6 to like age, like this is the world I'm from. So it's like, and seeing like as a child to as adults, like this is just a bare minimum of like, we should be doing these things. And I'm being vague because it becomes more obvious when we get more specifics.
Don't say what you were doing, were you in the Bronx?
Hmm?
It was in the Bronx,
But I
what
was,
you were doing, yeah,
Yeah.
it was in the Bronx.
yeah, it was in the southern half of the district,
What part, what neighborhood? Okay,
or Dangerous Heights.
Cambridge. Got it.
Do you know anything about this one?
No,
Because two looks like a doe and two looks like neither is, but
Yeah, two.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And one of the two that needs more info, like you said, was here when that strip was bare.
Yeah,
And they're kind of like the anchor of it, and more people came on.
yeah,
So definitely for that,
we'll look into it.
yeah. But we just need to be able to articulate it to the people.
Right, absolutely.
So. Yeah, so. Just trying to see it's like for tomorrow. And I think that's the other side is like our due diligence is like, oh, 1 day turnover.
Yeah. Well, you have 1 day, but you really have a week,
You know, like,
because you could let the exec know, okay, well, we're still
we're doing
looking
due
at it.
diligence. Okay.
Yeah,
And this.
and most of the people on the exec will know of the one that is scheduled
Yeah.
here, but is deserving of it.
Okay.
But the third one, the last one. Whoever has information on that, that would definitely would need.
Yeah, we definitely need it.
Okay. So,
So we got two and then another two. Right.
So Julie, what do we need for tomorrow?
Pretty much you give your recommendations of your, the awards that you're going to be giving out.
Mhm.
You'll be giving them the recommendation, and if one of them, well, two of them, the consensus here with your members seem like
Mhm.
it's a go. The other two, one of them more than likely will be a definite, but you just need to give the information on them.
Mhm.
That's knowledge that people may have from past.
Okay.
But you still have to bring it to the new people, and then the fourth one, you need to get everything. And then I'll do an email to everybody
Okay.
too. Because then they'll get in touch with you and give you any information. You know.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
mhm.
I don't know, again, just my 2 cents. Is that, I would definitely confer with our local, or other local community organizations. Because if people were turned away, then, and
Yeah.
if there is something that's in balance where we're not 100, you know, it's like. Well, maybe it doesn't, that, to me, that tips it down to an honorable mention.
Mhm.
Definitely worthy of recognition, perhaps a letter of appreciation or something like that, but not necessarily the award, in my opinion.
Julie, do we have a list of these awardees like we had for Irvin Latimer? I don't remember seeing that.
They're looking to put together the list of all the past, there really aren't that many, it's
No.
been just a few
Yeah.
years.
I can send that to you, I'll do it,
Okay.
I'll send it, I'll shoot you an email.
And you can see Steve,
Cool.
Farah, so, cause the intern is looking up everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so if the interns.
I think I
No, but
remember
we-
one.
Yeah, it's good for them, it's good for them, they gotta learn,
Well, then they should, after they compile it, they're gonna send it to you to
And I
make
can
sure
check
that it's,
it.
yeah.
that's fine,
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that idea better,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, we'll do that.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, cause I have the 2020 to 2024 in front of me.
Oh, it's on the thing that I did, so I looked it up.
Yeah, for the one
Yeah.
from 2020.
I didn't even see that.
Yeah, so we have 2020, which is Flowers by Zenda.
That was the first one. Orlando Cross was the first,
Oh, they were on the first,
Yeah.
first one.
that was the first
Oh, the
one.
flower guy.
Yeah, no, that's that. Oh, okay, so that is all. And then the Bronx Ale House and Cloudy's Kitchen in 2022
that was
or
the-
2021.
That was second year,
2022 is Laura Levine, Bronx Burger House,
yep,
Jubilees Marmolejos from One for All Yoga, Chorus Hardware, and Riverdale Auto Clinic.
yep. The
Hmm.
Jimmy Pack posthumously,
And then Tree Army, which,
yep, 3R.
yeah, was, and then Chintan
Oh, yeah. I
Patel,
remember
and John McCain.
And John McKeon posthumously, yeah.
So this says in 2011 was the first award.
Several city agencies.
Right, so we have to look from 2011 to 2020.
I don't
So
think
that's
there,
what-
there wasn't an award then.
I think that one was just like an award.
In 2011,
There was a committee award to several city agencies, and then from 2020 is the MVP award.
Well, those are name changes of it,
Yeah,
which is double check.
Hey, you can check with Sergio, cause he was chair back then, so. With
Yeah, he did the
2019.
first one in 2011.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
did the first one in 2011.
And then they didn't do any after that,
I don't know.
that was just all the information that we have.
interesting.
Okay.
Sorry, guys, I'm just checking the Yankee score.
Okay. Close this out, we'll see you in Q4.
Okay, so that takes care of that.
And I think that's,
Doesn't it?
yep. Okay, bye, bye,
You have to make a
everybody.
motion.
Motion to go to Grassy.
From what I heard from you is if we don't have quorum.
That's
Ashley, okay?
That's right, we don't have a quorum, that's right, I did say that one night,
Thanks,
bye,
everybody.
everybody.
Yeah, I'm quoting you.
Good night. See you tomorrow.
I'll email you guys tonight, I think I said that one
Okay.
night.
Bye.
Bye.
But,
Okay, so turn off the
To
recording.
adjourn.